There's a new AI lab in town. Microsoft just launched 7 new in-house MAI models at once and says it competes with OpenAI and Anthropic. Anthropic filed confidently first IPO at a valuation of nearly $965 billion, and OpenAI turned Codex into a work agent for everyone, not just for developers. So let's get into it. A few weeks ago, Microsoft told all its employees to stop using cloud models, and now we know why. Because Microsoft just revealed Microsoft AI today and dropped 7 new models. Yes, 7 new models developed in-house spanning from image, voice, transcription, coding, and reasoning, forming the MAI model family, a multimodal ecosystem. So the first model is MAI Thinking 1, which is their flagship reasoning, a medium-sized model that matches leading models on key software engineering benchmarks and reaches human preference parity with Sonnet 4.6 in a blind side-by-side evaluation, and is trained from scratch on clean data without distillation. That's their claim. Then there's MAI Code 1 Flash, which is an inference-efficient agentic coding model deeply integrated into GitHub Copilot, VS Code, and the Microsoft stack. At 5 billion parameters, is comparable to Haiku but cheaper. Then there's MAI Image 2.5 plus a Flash variant, which handles both text-to-image and image editing, surpassing the Arena score of Nano Banana Pro already. Then there's MAI Transcribe 1.5, which they claim is the best in world transcription with state-of-the-art accuracy, 5 times faster than competitors, with domain-specific terminology support across 43 languages. Then there's MAI Voice 2, which is a natural speech generation across 15 languages, able to adapt to a voice from a short sample, with a lower-cost Flash variant coming soon as well. Now, when I first saw this, I was thinking that which company is going to be genuinely affected by this, and one answer came to my mind that I think a lot of people are going to agree with is Google. Google's whole strategy has been to release a model and then leverage their distribution platform to serve it to an audience. Obviously, they could get away with a subpar model because their distribution footprint is so large. Now, a player like Microsoft entering kind of puts pressure on Google. Compared to OpenAI and Anthropic, Microsoft has a really strong distribution. As you can see already, these models are deeply integrated into things like GitHub, VS Code, the whole Microsoft stack. So a lot of people are already going to start working with these models in the background. That has been the whole play for Google and Microsoft, and that is why I think this is going to shake up the whole competitive environment, especially for players like Google. Obviously, these models have just launched, so it's early to tell how competitive they're going to be, but based on what they are saying, they're competitive to Sonnet 4.6, so they're not competing with the latest models at the moment, but this is just a company that was launched a couple of days ago. So we are going to see more development from Microsoft, and I'm just excited because more competition always means more innovation and more pressure to produce the best quality models. Today was probably one of the most important days for OpenAI as a business, but a lot of people are going to miss that because as developers or as people who watch this channel, we're so focused on the consumer side of things. But today, OpenAI had a conference called Intelligence at Work, and their pitch was basically that more than 5 million people now use Codex every single week. Originally, Codex started as a tool for software development, but now it's becoming increasingly useful for more kind of work that developers are not doing. Think about analysts, marketers, operators, designers. And what's really cool to know is that they make up about 20% of overall Codex users at the moment, but this segment is growing more than 3 times fast as the developer segment, which kind of shows you how the Codex platform is going to transition into something that is going to be used not only for coding or programming, but going to be used in actual enterprise work. Why is that important for OpenAI as a business? Developers definitely make up majority of the platform at the moment, 80% as they mentioned, but they are not going to be the ones that bring majority of the revenue in the long term. Before we continue, we just launched the Universe of AI newsletter. If you want to stay on top of AI news without having to hunt for it, link is in the description. Don't miss out. If OpenAI wants to continue scaling and continue training models, they need to generate a lot of revenue. Majority of that revenue is going to come from enterprise contracts. Think about this. If you're a small business or even a large enterprise, if you have hundreds of employees, if you sign a contract with OpenAI, majority of the times the pricing works like this. You have a standard fee plus a revenue portion that is tied to the number of employees that actually use this. So you can see why this is going to be very important for OpenAI as a business. Now, what does this mean for OpenAI? Number one, more and more enterprises and employees are going to get used to their platform. Just imagine, You have somebody who spends 8 to 10 hours working on a specific platform like Codex, and then when he goes home and he does his own personal work, what platform do you think he's going to gravitate towards? Obviously, OpenAI's Codex platform. So there's one side of the strategy that most people will miss. Second, as I already mentioned, revenue. Why is that important? I'll get into this later on, but Anthropic just filed for their IPO. What does that mean? The financials and balance sheets are going to become public. If OpenAI wants to file for an IPO, they need to show real revenue on their sheet for their valuation not to plummet. And if they're able to sign a bunch of enterprise contracts, get access to American SMEs, and overall expand internationally, that gives them solid runway not only as a business but as well as a public company. Now, what's really cool is that with this feature, there are a couple of important things that launch. Number one, they launched something called sites. Sites are basically a new kind of canvas for employees' ideas. Codex can take your ideas, analysis, and plans and then turn them into dashboards, planners, review workspace, project boards, whatever you want, and you can share that with your employees. As well, there's permission access, so obviously if there is a dashboard that is maybe limited to certain people on your team, unwanted employees won't be able to access it. This is a tool that might not seem big to developers, common developers, but this is really important for real work. A lot of times people are creating dashboards, Power BI dashboards, things like that to analyze data and then share those insights with their respective teams. By making that process much easier and accessible for employees and enterprises, they're going to gravitate towards a tool like that. Second is plugins. Now, there are actually 6 types of plugins, and they're all targeted to specific type of work. There's a data analytics plugin that helps analysts and business team answer questions with data, and they can explore product and business data, explain why key metrics change, and create reports and dashboard using tools like Snowflake, Databricks, Genie, Hex, and Tableau. There's also a creative production plugin, which helps marketing creative teams turn a brief into assets they can review. Teams can create campaign boards, make and refine display ad variations, and produce product lifestyle shots or e-commerce ready image sets with tools like Figma, Canva, Shutterstock, and more. There's a sales plugin, which helps sales team bring customer context into the work that moves deals forward. Sales teams can find high priority accounts and signals, prepare for customer meetings, complete follow-ups, and more. There's a product design plugin, which is built for turning early ideas into prototype. Teams can review, teams can explore product directories, audit user flows, things like that. And once again, tools like Figma and Canva will power that. There's a public equity investing plugin that helps investors make sense of market and company information. They can review earnings, compare companies, track signals, and they're going to be using tools like Moody's, Loop, DataSite, FactSet, and more. And then there's an investment banking plugin, which can help bankers turn research and diligence into client-ready materials. They can prepare pitch materials, analyze comparable companies and transactions, and more. So you can see OpenAI is heavily targeting 6 areas: data analytics, creative production, product design, sales, and public equity investing, which pretty much cover a majority of the corporate environment. You might have very niche stuff that might not be highlighted in the plugins directly, but these plugins probably give you a good head start to start creating and customizing your own plugins. But what's really important is that we are now entering phase 2 of AI. Phase 1 was all about disrupting computer science, software engineering, that type of pipeline. Now we're entering more into knowledge work area, and this phase 2 is going to grow pretty fast, as I said, because right now it's going 3 times faster than the developer community. So right now, Codex might be about 20% of investors and bankers. Maybe in the future, we're going to see a split that might surprise a lot of people. And like I mentioned, on June 1st, which was Monday of this week, Anthropic has filed for an IPO. Obviously, this is still the beginning of the pipeline, but what this is going to do is overall give us a better idea of how profitable and how strong these companies actually are. Obviously, the valuation numbers that we see right now are crazy to see. They're 5 times the biggest companies in the world right now. Think of Microsoft, these companies are bigger than them. And obviously because the valuation is taking into account the future growth and projection of these companies. But when these companies become public, especially Anthropic and OpenAI, we'll get more insight into their actual cost, their revenue structure, what their balance sheet looks like, and that will give us a better understanding of what their actual valuation is, especially as people keep on using the term AI bubble. By seeing these companies go public, we'll get a better understanding if we are actually an AI bubble or this is just the beginning of something big that's coming very soon. But that's it for today's video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, follow our new newsletter as well at universeofai.beehive.com, as well as subscribe to the main channel World of AI, and support us on X by following the Universe of AIZ as well. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.